Hi everyone. Welcome to Nollywho. Nollywho is a production of Clout Africa, which focuses on the contributions of Africans on the continent and Africans in the diaspora to film and television. This week, Frank is here with us
Hi guys.
to discuss YouTube. I can't believe that we're saying it like that. YouTube is easily one of the biggest independent sources of revenue for Nollywood
Yeah.
and for content creators in Africa. Period.
Right. Period. Boo!
Yes, it's because YouTube's advertising model, which essentially puts ads on your content, allows content creators to create whatever they want within the guidelines
Yeah.
of YouTube and get paid for it.
Yeah.
Which, it is very different from the traditional go to a producer and try to convince a producer that my idea will work
better.
and all of this and all of that. It just frees people to do a lot of things. And because of YouTube, we've seen an explosion of independent content from Nigerian content creators, from Nigerian filmmakers, and from Nigerian television writers and television producers. What is the most interesting thing that you have seen about YouTube over the last, let's say, 5 to 10 years?
When you say I've seen about YouTube, do you mean about generally about YouTube?
Just generally about YouTube in Africa.
I think it's just it's like you said, individual creators. I think it's just been amazing to see people cash out on just little things, well, that they deem as little, but
Yes.
it's just been amazing to see that people can actually earn the people whose full-time job is, I'm a YouTube creator, and that's a very legit thing because you're creating content that people are interacting with and people are engaging with. And speaking of, there are a couple of people who highlight their career or talk about their career, and they can't talk about they always emphasize on the importance of YouTube because it has everything.
Yeah.
ASMR, cooking, how to's, what you do when your phone falls inside water, so there's literally an audience for everything. And in Nollywood too, there's even an audience for it there.
Yes.
I've seen people brilliantly use YouTube as a means of keeping people involved in their work, behind the scenes, inside content, inside gist. A good example of someone who I think does Isaria's YouTube channel has
Awkward Black Girl.
has a lot of gems, like a lot of gems. She does this one where she even has like a sit down with maybe one person every month. I don't know if it's a month or like bi-monthly, but she has this thing where she just sits down with them and just uncovers the gist, and it's always so good. So there's a lot of, it's now a thing of content for people, by people, really. That's how I think of YouTube. Very brilliant platform, actually.
But we can't really talk about YouTube as it regards African content creators without mentioning Don't Jealous Me and African Ape.
Those were
they were the OG YouTube, YouTube. And it's interesting that because African Ape, Don't Jealous Me, there's this guy Paul, I can't remember his name, Paul. He started on Vine before he moved to YouTube.
Vine was sort of like a starting point for a lot of them.
He's like really tall, skinny, black. Has like a very wide smile. I can't remember his name, but he's still active on Twitter, but not as active as he used
before.
To be. But these were the original YouTubers, and it's interesting that the original YouTubers were not part of Nollywood. They were just independent content creators in the UK and in the US who turned to YouTube as a way to reconnect with their African heritage, to make jokes about being a first generation immigrant in another country. They were telling the kind of genuine, authentic stories that diaspora audiences wanted to watch.
Yeah, exactly.
But Nollywood didn't kind of prioritize. So, which is why, and of course, there's the the whole era of candid camera.
Oh wow!
On YouTube,
my God.
Nigerian candid camera, which is where the video from Apostle Musiel, that's where it comes from. And it has become such a huge thing today that it's really
It's even still
hard.
done
Yeah, it's
today.
still done today. So these were the original like innovators and progenitors of content creation on YouTube. But I think everything changed in 2011 when GT Bank moved its newsletter Ndani into a web channel.
Mm-hmm. And then you had all of the endless possibilities. I think the thing with them, and I think they even pivoted to it because they were doing, like you said, they were doing Vines.
Yeah.
And for them, YouTube was sort of like a combination of all of these Vines in one place. Yeah. So they were doing mostly shorts, 1 minute, 2 minute skits. And at the end of the day, you now see best of African Ape.
Yeah.
They will now like mix all of them together. I think when they realized, that people wanted more than
they wanted longer skits. They wanted more. Because I'm just remembering Keek.
Oh my god!
And Hey Kickers.
Hey Kickers.
and how these micro video blogging platforms were trying to
so
monetize.
Many came, so many tried.
So it's interesting. But once the big three, because Ndani was the first.
Yeah.
But Ndani was the first of, I think, actually they were like 5. Because Diamond Bank had its own web channel.
Oh my god.
There was Diamond Bank, there was Access Bank, there was UBA with Red TV. I think Zenith did something as well.
Yeah.
Yes. Access Bank had Accelerate, UBA had Red TV, and GTB had Ndani. I think Zenith had theirs, but it was really small. Sterling had theirs, it was really small.
Wow.
And Diamond Bank had its own portal. So it became a huge thing. It became a way because essentially what banks discovered at that time was that it was no longer enough to do advertising for your product. The only way for people to truly believe that a bank was giving value was if the bank was able to also provide them entertainment and edutainment and enlightenment. And so creating these web channels with these web shows was kind of
let's try to get them into
let's give them back. Yeah. Let's give back to them. Let's provide entertainment so that we're in their spaces in an unobtrusive way.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. So think of it like content marketing, where you're giving them content, but you're at the end of the day, all your goal is at the end of the day is for them to do something to
do a call to action.
Yeah, something. Yeah, that was what I would like to think like started like this whole phase.
But do you think that the big three embracing YouTube changed how we all saw YouTube?
I think in some type, I may be wrong, but I think in some type of way, yes.
Okay.
Because I'm trying to think of who I like, if there were people I actually followed actively before YouTube, and I don't think so. I don't think I remember watching Giddy Up. I think Giddy Up was on TV.
Giddy Up was the first.
Yeah, was Giddy Up on TV?
No, just YouTube.
Okay, yeah, okay, so yeah. So I remember watching Giddy Up on YouTube, and I think that was like the beginning of my journey. Yeah, and then from there, you started trying to identify.
And Giddy Up launched the careers of Etimi Yang.
Oh my god!
Somkele Lama.
Etim Efyong.
Etim Efyong. Somkele Lama. DME.
Oh my god!
That was DME's first role. Second season, because he replaced somebody else.
Yeah, he
was in the first and second season of Giddy Up.
Okay.
It was this boy. It was OCUKG that replaced
left,
somebody.
Yeah.
Yes. Even Adeswa's first role was on season 2 of Giddy Up. She was the rich wife to one of the main characters.
I need to.
Even Ikechukwu was in Giddy Up.
Yeah, I remember. I remember.
A lot of people.
I remember Titilope Shonuga.
It's so sad that Bobrisky's season 3 of Giddy Up, where she was in season 3, never came out.
Oh my god!
She was in season
that was
3.
the one they burnt.
Yes.
Hey,
she was in season 3 of Giddy Up. So Bobrisky has been in the game, but yeah, it's so
no.
Danny launched the careers of quite a number.
Oh no, they did.
Abimbola Craig.
Yeah. Jadesola Oshiberu.
Sharon Oja.
Yeah.
All these people started there. So it became a vehicle for. It had the prestige. So in many ways, YouTube in Nigeria was like Netflix in the US. It had the prestige of traditional cinema.
Yeah.
But none of the rigidness and the bureaucracy and the gatekeeping.
Yeah.
Even though now there's gatekeeping now on YouTube, but then there was no gatekeeping they were more focused on who is the freshest face we can find,
Who?
what is the most original story we can find, and
let's
it
do
really
it.
did a lot for
He did. I
for
agree.
revolutionizing how Nollywood approached storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
So that was really great.
I quite agree with you.
And it also created this secondary industry of people whose job on YouTube it was to review films.
Oh my God, yes. The
To
ones
review
that were
films,
doing it
review
episodes
projects.
by episodes.
Yes.
Oh,
I know Adenike Osho
yes. Oh
was
my
one
God,
of the
yes.
early pioneers of YouTube reviews. Delphinator as well.
Yes.
Eniola Tito.
Tito. Yes, there were a lot of them. I know Adenike used to have weekly episodes.
Yes.
There's a point where
They were
you know,
reviewing like Giddy,
when you watch,
Giddy Up and Skinny Girl.
yeah, when you watch
yeah,
it, you just know the next place you're going to is Adenike's page to
hear what she thought.
what she thought about
And so
it.
it kind of created that whole
Cult.
So it's an instant feedback
Yeah.
loop for these shows. It created an ecosystem around these shows where content reviewers were able to create content based on the shows,
Mm-hmm.
and do like crossovers and bring guests from the shows onto the shows, which I think we hadn't really had until that point.
Yeah, I
Because
agree.
it just wasn't. If it wasn't a proper critic or
Then
reviewer,
it was, you know,
it wasn't. And I think the significant difference between YouTube reviewers and traditional reviewers was that YouTube reviewers were more about recapping the show, not concerning themselves with, was it a good episode? Was it a
not.
bad episode? Theirs was, this is what has happened in the episode.
and this is what I
This is
thought
how
about.
I felt about it.
Yeah.
This is what I thought about it. This is what I think that this person should have done. This is what that person should have done. And it created a kind of, so I think it created a cushion of support that was not overt. It was supportive, but it wasn't overt. And so people had more incentives to watch the main show.
Mm-hmm.
Because apart from watching the show for satisfaction,
That was
I also wanted to know if what I thought about the episode
was actually
this was what
what
Adenike
she
thought, or what
yeah.
Eniola Tito thought, or what these people thought. Do you think that these people were able to scale, these reviewers?
I think in some type of way, yes. I mean, Adenike is on her second YouTube channel.
Third journey, actually, because she now has a YouTube for her baby.
Yeah.
She had a child, and then she has a married YouTube.
See, so she's been able to scale in. So she has an independent YouTube channel where she just does Nollywood. I mean, the ones she can see, considering the fact that she's out of the country now.
Mm-hmm.
So the ones that comes to her, she watches and then talks about it. And yeah, like people have just been very involved in her journey in her life afterwards, because, you know, she's become like, you know, like she's become like your friend.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you watch these things or when you feel some level of, because in some type of way, these people even let you into the, I mean, they're full on YouTubers that all they do is CCME, Dima. So you have all of them. You have I didn't get to I think shared like a couple of stuff about her life.
She had her pregnancy journey.
That. So you just feel connected to them. You feel like they're your sister or they're your friend, and you know you owe them all the support. So yeah, they've been able to scale.
I think one of the things that those reviewers did for YouTube and for Nollywood as a whole was that they were able to reintroduce the idea of community watching.
Mm-hmm.
We hadn't really, like, because of how our viewing habits had changed. People who put out films and shows in the 90s, they were lucky enough that because we all watch stuff on television, you generally didn't watch alone. You watch with your family or watch with your friends, and that social element of it, of where when something happens, we share in the horror or the surprise or the delight or the joy. That was lost once these shows got on YouTube. Because YouTube tends to be a solitary experience.
Mm-hmm.
I watch it on my phone alone, or
just
I watch it on my laptop alone.
Yeah.
But by the time you finish all of that,
and
you
you're
go
running,
to this person's,
so checking comment
like
section too.
the comment section as well as this person. So it's like I'm going to my best friend's house to watch it with her family.
I mean,
and so the fans in the comment are the person's family.
Yeah,
and this person's the best person. So that idea worked.
It did because
work.
even some of these shows, when you go on it, the first things you see are first to comment. Yes, and it's even brought about. I don't know if they still do it for all of their shows, but I know Danny's premiere episodes are
Yes.
always like YouTube, like the big YouTube watch thing.
Yeah,
So
they do a
everybody's
live
watching,
premiere, yes.
and you
And
have
they
all the
comment,
comments
yeah.
trickling in. So you have like, and I feel like it should even probably be like a general thing, because there were shows that had in some type of way maybe cult mentality. They were the Men's Club and all of the others.
Yeah.
These shows had gotten to this level where there were people who were
Yeah, they reached cult
waiting
status.
for
Skinny and Transit.
exactly.
And Men's
So
Club have
imagine
reached
doing
cult
that and
status.
having people watch and live stream, and it was just mind blowing and mind boggling. Yeah, at the point. So yeah, community check, scaling for the other reviewers as well. Check.
Yeah.
They did great job with that too.
Also, something else that YouTube did for Nollywood is that YouTube essentially saved Nollywood's B film culture. Because for the most part, there's this obsession currently with films going straight to cinema. We don't really have, because we no longer have a DVD culture, because originally early Nollywood was a DVD culture. It went straight to DVD, and then now cinemas have come in. So cinemas, it's a lot harder to convince people to try out a film in cinemas, because they don't own the content. They're just going to rent time to see this thing. So they're not willing to commit that kind of money. And because cinemas now became the main way, if you don't want your film to be pirated, people don't want to make B-list films anymore. But YouTube has kind of solved that problem. YouTube has given them a place where they can put their B-list films and people can go and watch it. And the more people watch, the more money they're able to make off it. So they feel like I can create my 60-episode, really bad B-list film. And it's not bad. It's not bad. Like, being a B-list film that is not great, it's not really a problem. If that's what you have chosen to make,
that's good.
Then we can judge it on that merit. And clearly, from the audience that they have, people clearly do love these films.
Yeah,
and they're able to make a lot of choices that they wouldn't make in mainstream. This thing, for example, there's this film that went viral in, I think, 2019 or 2020. It's called Cherry B.
Cherechi.
And it had Bobrisky as Cherechi, aka Cherry B, who was a trans person.
And checking everybody.
Because he went to the abroad to hustle money and then came back a woman. And then the wife in Nigeria was like, I think Queen Woke was the wife.
Yes, oh my gosh, she was brilliant.
And she was like, what's I
can't remember what's
his name, Chukuma or something?
No, it was a C something, because that was where Cherechi came from.
And then he's like, where is my husband? And she's like, I'm your husband. What do you mean you're my husband? It's like, yeah, my new name is Cherechi, aka Cherry B. And it was comical, it was funny, but it also tackled a huge topic, which was just trans people existing, and how do you navigate having a trans person in your family. Of course, the ending was horrible because it's a Nigerian production, and eventually they still have to pander to their audience. But the fact that they would attempt it, and especially, and it's so groundbreaking, because not only did they attempt it, but the person who played that role was a trans person.
It's I think it was bad to start with. Yes. I mean, everything I tried. I think it was 4 parts.
Yes.
And I watched like maybe 1 or 2, and I got like the gist. And I'm just like, I think I zoomed to 4 just to see the ending of it. But it was, in some type of way, it cornered, or it tackled something very seriously. Even though it looked at it more from like the comical,
even if it was tongue in cheek, it still attempted it, and it did far better than what we expect from Nollywood. Because
I agree.
It used a trans person, so for the most part, this trans storytelling was accurate, because it wasn't like they put a man in makeup and then the man was like, I'm a woman.
Sort of blackface, yeah. I get it.
So, B-list culture. YouTube is going to save B-list film culture in Nigeria. And I'm happy about that, because I feel
everybody can be A-list.
Yeah, and not everybody even, apart from the fact that not everybody can be A-list, not everybody can have the budget to start A-list.
Yeah.
Some people might need to make 6 or 7 B-list films with a smaller budget and just figure out, lighting, cinematography, all of that before they get to that place where they can make the big film.
I agree.
So, to just round things up, Frank, what are your projections for Nollywood in the next 5 years on YouTube?
people will start creating YouTube. YouTube would decide to do. YouTube already has YouTube originals.
Yeah, and YouTube premieres.
Yeah, so people would like YouTube is going to come into the market and commission people to create productions, Nollywood productions for them.
Mhm.
I like to think that they're very observant and they, data. They're using
them.
data to inform like a lot of decisions. It's just going to be one of those big things like how Netflix came. I know they like currently I think they're trying to scale up like YouTube Music.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just a matter of time. They have like a whole YouTube streaming, so premium and and it's just going to be really good for creators too because again, it's money being pumped into the system, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, that's great. Nollywood, I hope you guys are going to be ready by the time
hopefully
YouTube monies come, because
fingers crossed.
We cannot be
slacking behind.
Yeah, we cannot slack the way we're slacking with Netflix. Nope. That will not be acceptable
at all.
Thank you everybody for listening to the episode this week. This was Nollywho, a Clout Africa production that focuses on the contributions of Africans on the continent and Africans in the diaspora to film and television. From me, it's goodbye, and from Frank,
au revoir, guys.
Clout. Reach out.